My name is Sally. I'm 28 years old. My husband, Tim, works as the executive vice president of the leasing company Smith Lease Company, Limited, founded by his father. However, this Tim is such a spoiled brat and causes all sorts of trouble. My father-in-law, he really passed away as predicted in 3 months. He always kept his promises from the past. So, where did Tim go? He was on the phone. Hey, Mom, Sally, I'm gonna be on a long business trip from now on. Take care of the rest. With his suitcase already packed, Tim went on a so-called business trip, which was actually a trip for an affair. Then, 2 weeks later, Tim returned home with his pregnant mistress, Rachel. Rachel is pregnant, so I'm gonna take responsibility. It's divorce for us, Sally. Dad left an inheritance, so ask for as much money as you want, bragged Tim. I'll be taking Tim then. It'd be interesting to see if you can still say that after knowing the truth. You're really stupid, actually. Emily calmly conveyed the content written on the will of father-in-law, Dan. Tim and Rachel were frantic. The story begins with Smith Lease Company, Limited, founded by Dan. What? Break up? Why? Well, you'd find out sooner or later, so I'll be honest. I've decided to marry Sally. Huh? Is she the receptionist, Sally? I had my eye on her for a while but gave up because she said she had a boyfriend. But I heard she broke up, so I immediately confessed. And Sally said yes just like that? How easy is that woman? I got rejected, but I kept asking. After all, she's the company's flower, the Madonna of our company. If she's broken up with her boyfriend, why not give it a shot? Tim doesn't know the real Sally, so he can say that. Being beautiful is justice. Besides, I'm gonna be the next president of this company. Why would I say no? That's right, I couldn't refuse either. Tim helped me get over my ex and was very assertive. But Rachel, who joined the company the same year as me, must have hated me fiercely. Home late again? You go out drinking every night, is your body okay? I've told you, you don't have to wait for me. Every morning, you're late for work. Even if it's your father's company, this is not setting a good example. Shut up! When did you become such a nagging wife? We've only been married for half a year. The marriage life I had imagined lasted only the first month or 2. Tim was already tired of me. He was satisfied just with the process of winning me over. Fine, if you want to do what you like, Tim, fulfill my wish. You always brag about having money, so it should be easy for you. In return, I won't complain, no matter what you do in the mornings or if it's a one-night stand. So, what do you want? I love fashion, right? So, I want to start an online select shop for fashion. Can you provide the funding? I never paid much attention to your clothes when you were working. But I've heard you were often stopped on the street for snap photos that ended up in magazines. Well, I'm not interested, but go ahead and prepare an estimate. If you can manage with a few $100,000, it's no big deal. Both Tim and I had cooled off, but getting divorced so soon would look bad. Being a married couple only in name was probably what everyone expected. How's your father doing? Was he hospitalized for a while? It was around midnight. I got a call from my mother-in-law, Emily, saying that my father-in-law, Dan, had collapsed at home and was taken to the hospital by ambulance. Only Tim went to the hospital. And he came back early in the morning. That's because Tim was at a loss for words, so it must be bad. Dad has pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer often doesn't have symptoms, and it's usually discovered late. He was working normally at the company just yesterday. Is it advanced? It's terminal. He was given 3 months to live. I can't prepare myself. So, he's gonna be hospitalized from today? I heard your mom also has back problems. Can she manage the caregiving? Dad wants to spend his last days at home. We've already arranged for a hospital bed at the house. Mom's back is in bad shape. she can't take care of him. It's hard to keep up as our parents get older. Of course, Sally will be the one looking after Dad and Mom. What? It's not surprising. You're the wife of the only son of the Smith family. When you get married, you're supposed to prioritize your in-laws over your own parents. You mean I have to take care of Dad and Mom all by myself? Wouldn't it be smoother to have a professional come in for caregiving? Dad doesn't want strangers in the house. In such a big house, Mom managed all the housework without any help. I wish you could learn from her. Now's not the time to talk about fashion. What? You mean I should quit just as the e-commerce website is about to go live? Of course. What's more important right now? This is no time to be dabbling in hobbies. I've left caregiving and housework to you at my parents' place from tomorrow. Don't worry about my dinner or anything, just look after Dad and Mom. Tim probably sees this as a perfect opportunity to cheat. A chance to stretch his wings while his wife is away. I'm just 26, married only for half a year. And yet, I'm being forced into double caregiving. We've set up the medical bed in the living room. The bedroom is too far away, you might not hear if he calls. He's just sleeping all day, and doesn't have the energy or strength for anything else. How's your back? It's the age, I guess. Ever since she turned 60, it's been one thing after another. It's shameful she can't even take care of Dad. I'm sorry to put you through this, Sally, especially since you're newlyweds. No, it's part of being a wife. I had no confidence. I wanted to run away. It's too much for me. Flowers are delivered here once a week, are they from a friend of Dad's? We're 2 months into caregiving. I've settled into a mundane life as a caregiver. Oh, that person. Well, I guess you could say an acquaintance of Dad's. I was curious about Emily's attitude but didn't pry further. Each delivery came with a letter, so I wondered if it might be Dad's mistress. But the sender's name was male. Maybe Dad's admirer? Emily joked. We needed something to lighten the heavy atmosphere of the Smith household. My father-in-law is on treatment, so there's no need to prepare meals, but he's visibly weakening. All I can do is change his diapers, clean him, and massage him when he's in pain. For now, Emily's back pain has eased, but caregiving is so labor-intensive, it wouldn't be surprising if it flared up again. Sally being here full-time, even at night, is a huge help. Dad can't speak anymore, so we have to guess his needs. Changing his position at night is a real challenge. It takes both Emily and Sally to move him. Sally, taking the initiative in these difficult tasks, is truly a model wife. How lucky we are that you married our son. Tomorrow, a lawyer is coming over. Dad's planning to leave a will. But he can hardly talk? He can use a computer, though. It's slow, but he has a setup that lets him type without speaking. He's used to computers from work, it seems like his body remembers how. He's been slowly writing the will, piece by piece, to give to the lawyer tomorrow. Emily said with a sad smile. What's this, suddenly coming back? At least let me know. I just came to pick up some necessities. And you're drinking beer in the afternoon? Skipping work without a care, thinking you'll become president? The employees are complaining. Anyone who opposes me gets fired immediately. Looking around, the place was a mess. Beer cans and convenience store meal remnants were scattered everywhere. Shirts, lounge clothes, socks, and underwear were all over, obviously left wherever they were taken off. Why don't you clean up a bit? It stinks and the air is bad. How about opening a window to air it out? Then do it, Sally. I'm not supposed to do housework. I'm not a maid. I'm already doing all the housework at your family's place, checking on your father in between. I'm barely getting any sleep. You haven't seen yourself in the mirror, have you? With no makeup and your hair all over, you look like an old woman. I didn't marry Sally for this. I wanted a trophy wife, and even that's too much to ask? Who do you think I'm taking care of? I didn't get married for this. So, what did you expect from marriage? Thought you'd have an easy life? Never worry about money, just enjoy life forever? I chose Sally for her looks, and she chose me for my status, right? But marriage means dealing with the unexpected. Just hang in there for about another month. You're the worst. What do you think of your father? He's trying to live to the fullest until the very end. Thanks to him, we have our current lifestyle, and you're not even grateful. Karma will get you. I completely lost it with Tim's words. I get it, he's been spoiled all his life, so his sense is different from normal people. But I can't forgive such disregard for life. After that, I didn't return to Tim's house for a while. It's no use, I can't get through to Tim. Emily has been trying to call Tim's cell phone. She also contacted his office, but as expected, Tim didn't show up for work. The situation has become critical with Dan's health, as told by the doctor. It's time to call the family together while he's still conscious. The last thing to go is his hearing, so just speaking to him will reach him. I'm going to Tim's house. When I arrived at Tim's place, Rachel was sitting on the couch like she owned the place. So, he's now openly bringing his mistress home. What do you want? This is mine and Tim's love nest. What love nest in such a mess? Where's Tim? He went to the store. What do you want with Tim? It's none of your business, Rachel. Rachel and I joined the company at the same time but worked in different departments, so we didn't interact much. However, I heard she saw me as a rival. Thought you won in life by marrying Tim? But being a caregiver as a wife, it's better to be in a mistress position like me, no responsibilities. The once beautiful Sally has become so shabby. What happened to the company's Madonna? You look like you're in your 40s even though we're the same age. Tim likes new things. You must have looked dazzling to him for a moment. But as soon as he got you, he discarded you. We've been together for 4 years, so I'm the real girlfriend. In the end, Tim wanders, but he comes back to me. But I'm glad I didn't rush to marry Tim. Taking care of the president? No thanks. Poor Sally, used and discarded. Rachel, you've been hostile since we joined. Because I was at the reception and you were in accounting? I've heard rumors about your surgery addiction, clearly a failure, right? You're chasing eternal beauty, but don't you realize your face is becoming unrecognizable? Always insecure about your looks. Maybe you should have polished your inner self? I don't need to hear that from you. You stole Tim and comfortably settled as his wife, enjoying a carefree life. But bad deeds come back to haunt you, like being burdened with caregiving right after marriage. If Tim really cared about Sally, he'd hire a caregiver. Clearly, you're not valued at all. Losing your always perfect nails, makeup, and fashion sense. Tim would be disappointed seeing you now. Chosen for your beauty, once that's gone, you're nothing. You are too full of yourself, Sally. I can't help but think it serves you right. Your words are just the ramblings of someone who couldn't be number one. Sounds like sour grapes to me. A wife has her role, building a relationship through these human moments. If Tim really valued you, you would have been married after 4 years. Anyway, tell Tim to come to his parents' house urgently when he gets back. I left those words behind and returned to Dan's side. I knew a day would come to confront Rachel, but she turned out to be a formidable and thick-skinned woman. 2 days later, Dan passed away. What do you mean? Seating Rachel in the family section? It was during Dan's funeral. She's practically family by now. Being a mistress doesn't give her that right. In a funeral this grand, with Dan's family and company relations, seating a mistress in the family section questions Tim's common sense. Or do you want everyone to know she's your mistress? Don't sweat the small stuff. Jealous of me and Rachel? But come on, we've been together for 4 years. Then why marry me? If you liked Rachel so much, you should have married her. Well, she's a surgery monster, right? If we had a kid and it looked just like her original face, I couldn't love it. Thinking like that is appalling. Anyway, this is the Smith family's funeral. I won't take orders from you. And Rachel, for her part, boldly took her place in the family section. Naturally, Tim's company employees were puzzled by this. The relationship between Tim and Rachel was well known within the company, but no one expected Rachel to be officially welcomed as a wife. They were a couple not blessed by those around them. On the way back from the funeral, Tim announced he was going on a long business trip. Silently seeing him off, only for him to return saying, "Rachel is pregnant, so I'm gonna take responsibility. It's divorce for us, Sally." He was confident he could pay any amount, banking on the inheritance left by his father. Rachel, too, was assertive, saying, "Tim is mine." For Rachel, it was the fulfillment of her long-held desire to take the wife's seat. She must have been pleased. "You're really foolish." Emily sighed. "A real mama's boy who knows nothing at all, truly." "What are you talking about?" "So, Sally, how much do you plan to get from Tim?" "He said he'd pay anything, so name your price." "Then, $200,000. Can Tim pay that?" "Yeah, if that's all, I'll pay for it." "Sally, you're greedy, aren't you? It proves that you married Tim for money." "Oh, isn't it you, Rachel, who's after money?" "I have evidence right here, shall I play it?" I had asked someone at Tim's company to record Rachel's conversation. "Why do you think I've put up with this for 4 years? All for the money. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother with such a useless second-generation rich kid. Marrying Tim meant living easily, surrounded by everything I wanted, a life everyone envies. For that, I can endure Tim's narcissism. Sure, he might become abusive, but then I'd just take a hefty alimony and leave. Why do you think I got surgery? Because Tim loves beautiful people. He always says beauty is justice. So, I had surgery to become his type of woman. It's an investment in myself. When he chose Sally, it just confirmed that looks are everything. Tim wants to be the center of attention, even in winter he drives a convertible shouting, 'Look at me.' Covered in flashy brands, and he's rude to servers everywhere, unthinkable for a president. The president was known for being humble. Well, once we're married, I've got him. Just need to completely erase Sally." I stopped the recording there. I wonder how Tim would react. It's not like that. This was just a joke. I wouldn't really think that." Suddenly, she started to sweet-talk Tim in a soft voice. Of course, she wouldn't want to ruin her long-planned scheme with this. "If I wasn't serious about Tim, I would have aborted the pregnancy. I want to bear Tim's child, to give birth to the heir of Smith Lease. Anyway, Sally, how did you get this recording? If you've bugged the company, you'll be in trouble too. Emily, maybe it's time to tell Tim the truth." "All right, what is it?" "I'll handle whatever it is." Tim sounded confident. After Dan's passing, he must have thought he held all the power. "Your father left a will, through a lawyer, so this will is absolute. First, the property is to be divided equally between me, Emily, your son, and Sally." "Wait, why does Sally get anything? She's just a wife, that's ridiculous." "Because Sally took care of your father until the end, very devotedly. Even the visiting nurse was impressed, saying not many could do what she did. Meanwhile, you never visited once, didn't work, just lays around at home, right? Or were with your mistress. It's only fair Sally inherits, it's your father's last wish. Well, Tim still gets a third, so it's not bad. Plus, Tim will be the president of the company, it's his era now. That's only for now. One thing to note, the son mentioned here isn't you, Tim. It's your half-brother, Dan's son from his previous marriage." "Huh? Dan was married before me. That child, Mark." "What? First time hearing this. Why keep silent till now? Suddenly this guy gets inheritance, makes no sense." Tim was clearly panicked. His reaction was almost comical. "Mark is currently working at Smith Lease. You know Mark, don't you, Tim?" "Mark, oh, that guy. I've heard you used to bully him quite a bit. From what other employees say, Mark is very skilled and top class in sales. Tim, you were jealous, weren't you? You wanted to eliminate anyone who got more attention than you. That bastard is my half-brother?" You've got to be joking. Mark sent flowers every week because he felt it was too presumptuous to visit the house. He always wrote polite letters, too. Dad looked forward to reading those letters. In contrast, Tim, you did nothing. How could you be so cold? It's embarrassing to think you're my child. Call Mark right now. I'll settle this. For Tim, this was a bolt from the blue, but Emily had introduced me to Mark. Mark was also the one who recorded Rachel's voice. Emily contacted Mark. He arrived with confidence, facing Tim's glaring hostility. Are you really Dan's son? Yes, I'm 3 years older than Tim. You played it well, ingratiating yourself with Dad to get the inheritance, right? I get it. You were nice to Dad just for that? I just did what was natural. Unfortunately, I couldn't help with caregiving, and I'm sorry for that, Emily and Sally. It was too difficult for me to step into the family home like that. Top sales in the company for 3 years straight, right? Why did Dad make Tim the executive vice president and leave you as an ordinary employee? I asked not to be treated specially. I was working at another company. When Tim and Sally got married, Dad told me about it and invited me to work at the company. He was considerate of my mother, who raised me as a single mother, and offered me a generous salary. Until I graduated college, Dad paid child support and tuition fees, feeling guilty for making us feel marginalized. So, you shamelessly joined Dad's company after he died, planning to snatch the inheritance? Seriously, how scheming. Shut up. Dad left a third of his estate to Mark and wrote that the company should go to Mark as his successor. That's how disappointed he was in Tim. Why is even Mom siding with this outsider? He should be the last person you support. Mark is not an outsider. He's Dan's son from his first marriage. I knew about him when I married Dan. Tim was cornered, unable to see a way out. I'll divorce you as you wish, Tim. Rachel, live quietly somewhere with your child. If you truly loved him, not for his money, you can do it, right? Even in poverty. Looks like your bet failed. Never expected the real power to go to the son from the first marriage, did you? You two are well matched, both seeking the same things, sharing the same values. You agreed to $200,000 when I asked, right? Then, I'll graciously accept it. Shall we arrange installment payments? Hey, Tim, Sally is saying something. Can't you turn this around? It's over if you back down now. Rachel must be furious inside, seeing her plans fall apart. I'll sue. Get a lawyer. I can't accept this. From my perspective, everything is settled. Dad dumped all the caregiving on me, and you spent your days drinking and eating with your mistress. It's only natural not to leave money to someone so neglectful. The company would collapse if Tim became the president. How will you live, burdening so many employees with debt? Don't add to the misery. Despite being rebuked by me and Emily, Tim still hoped for an easy way out. Especially from Emily, his biological mother. Can't end like this. Remember this. Tim, frustrated, left with Rachel. Emily, I'm truly grateful to you. Without Sally, Dad would have been in the hospital all this time. But he could spend his last days at home, which was really good. After Dan's death and the rushed funeral, Emily cried for the first time. What a beautiful couple, I thought, feeling deeply moved. It's a pity, Sally, that you won't return to the company. Sorry, despite the kind offer. I've only worked as a receptionist at Smith Lease. I don't have any notable skills. Maintaining beauty is also a significant skill. It's hard to keep up beauty. I have something I want to do. If Dad hadn't fallen ill, I would have progressed with a business. I'm interested in fashion and want to launch a fashion-related e-commerce site. The money Dad left is more than enough. What happened to Tim and Rachel afterward? Rachel told a terrible lie. She wasn't really pregnant. It was a lie she made up because she wanted to marry Tim. It seems she was really after his money, and when Tim lost everything, his money, status, and honor, she quickly dumped him. Tim was even kicked out of his family home and now lives in manga cafes or internet cafes, having no friends or acquaintances willing to lend him money. He must be feeling very lonely. As for Rachel, rumors say she became addicted to cosmetic surgery. But without money for maintenance, her face is starting to deteriorate. I think it's because Tim was so focused on beauty. Both Sally and Rachel's lives were thrown into chaos by Tim. Choosing a partner carefully is essential, especially for beautiful women.